For me, cooking is becoming more and more about reconnecting with my culture. And today, I'm going to be cooking one of Malaysia's favourite dishes, a classic Nyonya curry. When I was back in Malaysia recently, one of my favourite things was getting reacquainted with the Baba Nyonya culture. Everything from the clothing to the handicrafts is so full of life and colour. One thing I did notice was the huge role that women played as proud ambassadors of the Nyonya way of living. And the Nyonya food is, of course, rich with diversity because of all the different cultural influences. Really punchy flavours, richness from the coconut milk, and of course, spices, lots of spice. And that's probably due to the influence of the Indians. So when we were in Penang, it was no coincidence that when we needed some excellent spices, we headed off to the Indian spice mill. That looks amazing. Because I'm wanting to play with spices today, I went straight to the expert, Ragini Day. Now, she's amazing, an absolute professor of spices. And I love the way she always puts her spin on classic traditional Indian. Hello, Ragini. I can smell those cloves. What have you got going there?
Yeah, this is garam masala, so we've got 5 different spices. Smell them?
Yeah. Hey, I'm glad to see you're not a complete purist, because you chuck it all in at once, don't you?
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I know actually there are different rules, so sometimes people like to put one thing at a time, depending on the size.
Yeah.
But in India, put it all together.
Life's too short. Yeah. Well, I've got some dry spices toasting as well. I've just got coriander seeds, cumin and fennel. And what are you making today?
Well, I'm doing the ultimate roast chicken.
An Indian roast chicken?
An Indian roast chicken.
What a fabulous concept. Well, I'm going to be doing a chicken also. I'm going to be cooking one of Malaysia's favourite dishes, a Nyonya chicken curry, and with roti canai.
My favourite Malaysian breakfast.
Really?
Absolutely.
It's delicious, isn't it?
It is, it is.
OK, so when you're toasting your dry spices, what you're looking for is to get that really beautiful fragrance, which means that they're toasting and all the oils are coming out, and a little bit of smoking, and you know they're ready.
Well, I think my spices are ready, Po. Can you smell them?
Oh, yeah, I can smell them from here.
Yeah, so that's actually how you know, of course, you might have a really stuffed nose, in which case you can't tell, but then you can sort of touch the spices and it feels nice and warm.
Yeah.
And that's the signal, so ready to start grinding. Are yours ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, looks like I'm doing the old-fashioned way.
I'm going to go the cheat way.
It's all about smell, isn't it? Just fantastic.
These are brilliant. It's basically a little coffee grinder. I'm going to make some noise now, OK?
Well, let's both do it together then.
OK. And don't be afraid to shake, your spice grinder around a little bit, because that's how you're going to get a really good grind.
Oh, that's lovely.
Nice and fine. Doesn't that smell amazing? Oh, I love it.
Beautiful.
Well, I'm going to get on with my rempah. For those of you who don't know what a rempah is, it's basically a wet spice paste. We've got here dried chilies, shallots, fresh turmeric and garlic, and I've also got to add one other guy, Mr. Belacan. And I've actually done it in a very socially acceptable way, because otherwise you have to change all the soft furnishings in your house. And what I've done is actually wrapped it in some foil and squashed it down and roasted it in the oven. So here it is, tidily wrapped in some foil. The thing with belacan is it's one of those weird things where if you leave it out, you really do notice it, because it really just adds depth, and I find it ties flavours together. And so here it is. It's nice and crumbly. So I'm just going to put it in here, and while I'm at it, I'm going to put my dry spices in there as well. There's a lot of flavour in here, isn't it? Actually, I have to say, the first time I ever made this, I practically jumped for joy, because it's like conjuring magic. Because when you taste something familiar and it's like how you've eaten it from childhood, it's a really magical feeling, isn't it?
It is, and then you think, I made that?
Yeah! Now I'm sort of homogenising all these ingredients together, especially the belacan, because you don't want a big chunk of it in your mouth. That would be really bad. And that's fine. Done.
Okay,
what are you up to?
The recipe actually says bathe your chicken in yogurt. Yeah, it always reminds me of Cleopatra, in a bath of milk or something like that. The skin's been left on, and that's deliberate because we're going to roast it, so we want it to remain nice and moist and succulent. So, just got some yogurt going in.
So we're just going to give Cleopatra a bath?
Yep. and a little bit of salt because, you know, I like salt. And really that needs to sort of sit there for a couple of hours because, you know, yogurt does tenderize as well.
Yeah.
And my next step is really to start with the stuffing for this. So I've got some onions that I've started to brown. You can see the onions are sort of fairly deep coloured, so that's quite important to get them quite sort of crunchy.
Yeah, they're nice and crispy, yeah.
So don't worry about, you know, if you've got a lot of ghee there because we are going to continue the stuffing in the same
same fat,
so
yep.
it doesn't matter that, you know, we have a bit of extra. Okay, so we're just going to take it to the food processor.
Fantastic.
Add a little bit of yogurt and just grind that up.
Oh, that's going to be delicious.
Okay, so...
The thing about ghee is people that don't know much about it is that it's clarified butter, right? Is it all the protein has been taken out of it?
All the moisture.
Oh, moisture.
Yeah, so that it doesn't burn like butter does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the really...
And it keeps at room temperature as well, doesn't it? It doesn't
sure
go
does.
rancid really quick. So done.
Yeah, all finished.
And what are you going to do next?
Okay, so next I'm going to just fry these hard-boiled eggs. So they're going to get nice and brown. It's going to take a little while. What are you doing?
I'm just going to actually finish off my rempa, but what I need to do is just fry these whole spices first. So we've just got a cinnamon stick, 2 cloves and a little star anise. Okay, these won't take very long. I can't really smell them getting fragrant already. And then I'm going to pop my rempa in there and start caramelising that off. And you know what's amazing when you do a paste like this? You kind of think that everything will become really homogenised, but you can actually smell all the different spices coming out as they're cooking, can't you?
Yeah, they probably all take different times to sort of release their, you know, volatile oils and...
Yeah. Now, a sure way to tell that your spice paste is ready, apart from the fact that it's very fragrant, is that the oil will start to separate from the rempa again and start to pool around the edges and on top of the spice paste. Now, this is going to take a while, Ragini. Where are you at with your eggs? Oh, look at them.
Yeah, look at that, nice and golden, isn't it? We're just going to lift them out, and I'm going to use the same ghee because that's got all the lovely flavours now.
So... And so the eggs are part of the stuffing as well.
Yep, yep.
It's so weird. You're putting the egg back into the chicken.
Yeah. It's right where it came from. So we're going to start off, first of all, with the garlic and ginger. Really important to fry that nicely, otherwise you have those raw, garlicky, specialty flavours. And then I'm going to put in some coriander and cumin.
Oh, that smells amazing.
And really, once you've done it to this stage, so you've got your ginger, garlic, cumin and coriander, it's just a matter of putting all the other ingredients in one at a time. So I've got some chopped mint, sultanas, chopped chili, just a little bit fresh green chili, some cashew nuts, and this is the very special white poppy seed. Have you ever used white poppy seeds before?
No. I was wondering what that was. It looks almost like yeast.
It does look like yeast, doesn't it? Nice and creamy and nutty.
Yeah.
So that's going to go in as well as our almond meal. And I've got some roasted chickpea flour.
It's just amazing, the complexity here.
Have a taste of this too.
Is it pure chickpea?
But, you know, if you use the basin flour, which is not roasted, it'll give a very raw flavour. And we've got some nutmeg and mace, which are going to go in now. So really, it's really simple. I mean, there are hundreds of ingredients, but once you have them ready, it all goes in nicely. And give it a little bit of a mix, so we're actually cooking this in the ghee as well. Some saffron infused with a little bit of milk. Because if you don't do that, you know, you have a pinch and it won't really flavour the whole stuffing uniformly. We've got some milk powder.
Wow, this is an amazing dish.
You know, you've got your aromatic spices. On the other hand, you've got other ingredients which are nice and delicate and subtle.
Yeah.
And some cream, if it wasn't rich enough. And I'm just going to add one more ingredient, the onion mix.
Yep, onion and yogurt.
Onion and yogurt. So that sort of just also gives it a really nice caramelized onion flavour. You can see how sort of solid it is, almost like a little taste pour. I think you should.
That is just beautiful. Really like rich and nutty and really gentle. And look at my rempa.
Wow, it's all dried completely, isn't it?
Yeah, and really dark.
So I'm just going to finish it off now with this beautiful blend of spices just did. And that's the garam masala. Garam masala is a blend of 5 different spices. The cumin seeds have the earthiness and they're also relatively inexpensive. Then the black peppercorns, which of course are nice and peppery. Cloves, the pungent, slight heat. The cinnamon sticks, quite sweet, and most importantly, the green cardamom with a lemony and camphor-like flavor. Garam masala can transform a mediocre dish into something absolutely magical. It does give it that lift, doesn't it?
It just ties everything together. Well, I'm going to go back to my rimpa, and the next thing that I need to put in there is some coconut cream. That's just going to add a little bit more fat content and develop that rimpa.
What's that they say, no fat, no flavour?
It's true. And Malaysia's favourite friend, pandan, and curry leaves. I love curry leaves. I think they're the best things in the world. And now I can add my chicken in there. 1 kilo of chicken thighs.
Thighs are always so much nicer, aren't
I
they?
know. So we just want to saute the meat a little bit, and then potatoes and our coconut milk, and just let it braise.
You love adding potatoes to dishes as well?
Where does that come from?
I don't really know. Do you think it's a British influence?
I don't know.
No? Irish?
Possibly.
It's delicious anyway, so who cares?
Okay, just a final flourish, a bit of salt and sugar, and that's just to balance it. It's always very important with Asian food to balance with sugar at the end. And I'm just going to put my lid on it and see what Reghane's up to next.
Well, I've got to get my hands dirty now because we're going to stuff this chicken. The yogurt's really tenderized it as well as got nice flavors into it. So really you just sort of have to take the stuffing and force it in. Doesn't matter if you get a bit outside because that all adds to the flavor. And the eggs that we fried, they go in as well in the cavity.
I know, I can't wait to see that.
It's sort of...
Where's the story of this dish? It seems like such an unusual dish, and just the whole concept of roasting a chicken. Is that from the British?
No, I think this is much earlier than the British because it probably came from the Mughals, 11th, 12th century.
And also all this is really characteristic of it as well, the nuts and the fruit.
That's right.
And
the
really
saffron.
richness, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to sort of close up the cavity as well so there's no chance of anything coming out when we fry it.
It's not going to hatch an egg.
Okay, stand back because it is going to
split, isn't
split it. But we're going to sort of get rid of most of the yogurt that we can. You don't obviously splash that chicken on from any height. Easier for me because I'm down here. We're just going to get a lovely golden brown color there. And then it's going to go into moderate oven about 180 degrees and finish cooking. How I came across this was through my grandparents because they had a function in their home one day and they invited the special chef to come over. And of course, there was no way he was going to part with the recipe.
No.
So my grandparents had three daughters, and they sent one of them in there to watch what was happening. So she came out quickly and told her mum, who wrote it down. And sort of happened with all the three girls in the end. They have the
complete recipe.
Yeah, and now all of Australia is going to enjoy it.
That's amazing.
Okay, I think that's ready. So I'm going to just turn that over to sort of brown nicely.
Wow, that's incredible. You know what? I just absolutely love that story. I can't believe it's actually true. And
I promise you it is.
That's one thing, that's like a real pet peeve of mine, people that aren't generous with recipes, because cooking is about love and joy and sharing. So if you're not sharing, what are you doing it for?